Welcome. So today we're diving into a really fascinating psychological puzzle, one that pretty much flips our usual ideas about achievement completely upside down. We're going to explore a paradox, how the most powerful thing you can do to move forward is, well, sometimes to just let go.
So, let's just jump right into the big question, right? How can you possibly win by giving up? I know it sounds totally backward, but as we're about to see, there is a profound truth hiding inside this very idea.
To really get why letting go can be so powerful, we first have to look at its opposite, holding on way too tightly. Think about it. It's like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more wide awake you feel, right? So let's explore the often brutal limits of that pure brute force self-control.
When we're up against something truly monumental, our default setting is usually just willpower. The source material calls this an immense internal fight, that feeling of going against oneself. It's literally a war we're waging inside our own minds, and it takes every single ounce of our energy.
And the stakes here, they're incredibly high. When that internal battle just becomes too much, when willpower finally hits a wall, the source points to some really devastating outcomes. We see it in struggles with addiction, the inability to bounce back from an immense loss, and often a slide into self-destructive behavior, or just giving up on the fight altogether.
But here's where things get really fascinating. Scientific observation has actually revealed a totally different path, a surprising pattern that often leads to recovery, right at the point where willpower alone just fails. The source suggests a pretty cool approach here. It's like, for a moment, let's just observe what's happening, without trying to pick it apart too clinically. Let's just look at this pattern as a human phenomenon, one that for whatever reason seems to work time and time again.
And what this reveals are two very distinct paths. See, on one side, you've got the standard approach, that intense, grinding self-control. But on the other, you have this observed phenomenon, the act of handing it over, of accepting a kind of top-down external control. It's a completely different way of thinking.
And this brings us right to the central mystery of our whole discussion today, the paradox of surrender.
There's a quote from our source material that just captures this puzzle perfectly. It asks, how could it be that the thing that's hardest for humans to do for themselves becomes far easier when they stop trying to do it for themselves? I mean, that's a question that really makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
So what exactly is this top-down control? Well, it's not about being a puppet or anything like that. It's described as a feeling, a sense that influence or encouragement or even instruction is coming from somewhere outside of your own strained willpower. It could be a higher power, a support group, a therapist, even just a principle you decide to live by. It's the sense that something is coming through you, not just from you.
So why on earth does this work? The theory that's presented suggests that by handing over the struggle, you get this profound sense of relief. You are no longer carrying the entire crushing weight of this huge internal battle all on your own. You get a relief from the process.
Okay, so let's bring all these pieces together and look at the final, really powerful takeaway from this whole phenomenon.
And this, right here, is the heart of it all. That feeling of relief isn't just a nice little side effect. It's the actual engine of the change. By letting go of that immense pressure to control everything yourself, you create the mental and emotional space that's needed for a real transformation to actually happen. So, in other words, the surrender is what makes the victory possible. So, I want to leave you with this question to think about. In a world that is constantly screaming at us to grip tighter, try harder, and take more control, what could you achieve by just letting go?